So redoing the question we already did, like I just said. So we have this, remember this picture is going to be on FRQ3 without numbers on your exam for sure. This question here has two points that would be attached to it. And every FRQ, so there's 4 FRQs on your AP exam. Each one of them is worth 6 points. Today, the second day of your first lesson, we're going to be able to get 2 of the 6 points from FRQ3, right? We already got 1 point from the bases, right? Because we understand those. And probably some other points for some other things. But like specifically, I can tell you for sure what is happening there. Now, these are ordered pairs because those are points that we plot. These are not because that wouldn't make sense, right? I know they look the same. Not my fault. I didn't make up the notation. So you have to know in context. Here, this being an interval wouldn't make any sense. These being ordered pairs wouldn't make any sense. So you just use your context clues, right? All right, so talking through this again. So it tells us a whole bunch of stuff, but it says my t-coordinate of F is T1, t-coordinate of G is T2. And it's the t-coordinate because it's h of t, so t is my input, not my x, basically. So I'm looking at this part of the graph. Then it says, on the interval from t1 to t2, which of the following is true about h? The function. We are not talking about the rate of change, so I don't care about the fun chart at this moment. I'm looking at the function itself. So to decide if the function is positive or negative, what do I look at? Inputs or outputs? Outputs. So I'm going to look at the 2 outputs. I got a 4 and I got a 0. All right, so positive because we're not including the 0 because it's an open interval. So the function itself is positive in that little part. So that means I can eliminate C and D. And then the function itself, is it increasing or decreasing here? Decreasing. My y values are getting smaller from 4 to 0. So it is positive and decreasing. Now, somebody asked me a question on the way out yesterday. I don't know if I answered it or if I said we'll talk about it again. I don't remember who it was. Does anybody have a question at this point? Okay, perfect. So let's move on then. So still looking at the same picture and everything. The second part says to describe how the rate of change of h is changing on this interval. So what do I need to write down? If I'm talking about rate of change. Fun chart. Fun chart. Okay, we're going to write it out a bunch. Important to have it written down. So I know just by looking at what I put here, okay, h is positive. The function's positive. There's not a positive on the function part, so I can't really do anything there. But the function is decreasing. So I'm looking at that part of the fun chart. Then if I look at the graph, this part in question here, is that concave up or down? Down. So then I'm also looking at this part, right? So it's asking me how the rate of change is changing. What I know is the rate of change is decreasing and negative. Negative doesn't tell me how it's changing. That's just a property of it. So how it's changing is the decreasing part. Now, I don't get you to just put decreasing. There's a whole lot of words I got to write, and I got to write them out a certain way and say certain things for me to get this point. And it's really not that bad because we'll be writing stuff like this so much it'll become second nature. But I'll talk to you about why we have to write certain things here in just a second. So here's what we need to write. The rate of change, and remember, rate of change is not one of those things we get to abbreviate. And I didn't make the rules, right? The rate of change of h is decreasing. I can't abbreviate decreasing, so that's nice. Now, is the rate of change decreasing across the whole graph? No. So then I have to put when it's decreasing. What am I talking about? It's decreasing on the interval T1 to T2. Okay. Now that's answering the question, but I have to justify my answer. Like, how do you know that? So then I'm going to say because, and I can abbreviate because B/C. So that's nice. We'll do that a lot. And I can't say it. If you're writing out an explanation, you put the word it, you better go back in there and figure out what it is and replace the word it with that. It can get you in a lot of trouble. right? So because, not it, but because H is, and the reason I know that the rate of change is decreasing is because H is concave down. Now, is H always concave down? No. So again, I have to say on T1 to T2. Okay. What questions do you have at this point? So there's basically 3 or 4 little things that have to be in each part. There's like a first part and a second part, the answer and the justification. I have to say, so what are we talking about? Rate of change, I'm answering the question, of who, H, is what, decreasing where? T1 to T2. Because who, H, is what, concave down, where? T1 to T2. And it may seem kind of repetitive, but I'll tell you this often, your opinion doesn't matter, and neither does mine, right? We want to get the points, and that's what we're trying to do, right? Our opinions, whatever, you can think that all day long. You refuse to write it, knock yourself out, you'll never pass. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I'm trying to help you out here. Okay, we good? You have something to say? Okay. All right, any questions? All right, so I'm going to give you a minute or so, and I want you to do just the multiple choice part of this one. Mark your graph up like we did above. Think about what you know, and get it figured out. All right, so we want to know which of the following is true about H. So on that section right there, Carlos, is H positive or negative? H is positive. What do we look at to figure that out? Inputs or outputs? Outputs. So what are my outputs from T1 to T2? What are my outputs from T1 to T2? Uh-huh. Okay. So I'll ask you again, is my function positive or negative? Okay, but my outputs are negative. You told me I'm supposed to look at my outputs. So if my outputs are negative, how does that make my function positive? Excuse me? Not really sure that's what came out of your mouth, but so the function is what here? Positive or negative? Negative, okay, because my y values are negative. So I can eliminate those two, right? Then, Waldo, tell me, is my function, where's Waldo? Sorry, I looked down here and this is backwards. Is my function increasing or decreasing right here? What? Increasing. Okay, good. I just couldn't hear you. Increasing. Very good. So it's increasing. So it is negative and increasing. Answer is C. Okay, everybody good with that? All right, so now that we got that part, I want you to do the second one. You got something you can model up there, but get your fun chart written down, get that stuff figured out. You can talk to your neighbors about it. That works. Okay, Amanda. Oh, shoot. Beeson. That's the one I looked at. Oh, and that's all next to each other, didn't I? Aiden? Okay, perfect. Either way, so I don't mind calling you Amanda. I just have to remember that I have more than one. All right, so Amanda, or y'all can joint answer. I don't care. It can be a tag team. This part of the graph, are we concave up or down? Right here. Here we're down. We're concave down. Okay. Concave down, down like a frown. This is up like a cup, right? So that tells me, so I already know that my rate of change is positive, but again, not really what it's asking me. It's asking me how it's changing, so it's decreasing. So since I made this one decreasing just like the rest, and I named them both H, it's literally the exact same answer as right above. So the rate of change, that was bad on my part. What? What? Oh, is it? Oh, the function is negative and increasing. The function is negative and increasing. The rate of change is decreasing. Okay? And remember, the function can be increasing while the rate of change is decreasing. Think about the water in the vases. The water was increasing the whole time, but the speed at which it entered, or the speed at which it filled up, changed. Okay? Is that good? So, and this can very easily get muddled in your mind. You have to remind yourself, am I looking at the function or am I talking about the rate of change? Okay, and make sure that those are separate and you know exactly what we're looking at. Does that help? Okay, so the rate of change of H is decreasing on T1 to T2 because H is concave down on T1 to T2. Okay. So it's literally the exact same words. I'm sorry, the multiple choice part isn't the same as the front, just these words because of how it worked out. Okay. When you use this on your assignment, I'm just going to give you a little hint now instead of wait. And you use this as a model of what to write, be careful not to have something on your paper like, I saw some people on one of the questions where they had this one boxed because they knew it was concave up, so it was increasing, but because they were using their notes, which is a good thing, they just wrote decreasing, like they copied it exactly. So make sure you're making the changes you need to when you're looking at this to model your answer. Just be careful with that. All right, any questions at all? All right, grab your piece of paper you picked up on your way in. This is also going on page 22. I'll explain all of that when we put them all in all at the same time. So just hang on to the second piece of paper, the one we just finished. Just put it off to the side for right now. We'll do it all together at the end. All right. So here's a bunch of multiple choice questions that model what you could see on your exam. And just because things are multiple choice doesn't always mean that they're easier. Just saying. It also doesn't mean that they're difficult, but you can't assume things are easy because it's multiple choice. All right, so we have this figure for the function k, goes from 0 to 9, and the 6 labeled points. All right, so it says, on which of the following intervals is k negative and decreasing? Am I talking about the rate of change at all? No. So even if I had the fun chart written down, I'd cover it up. I don't even want to think about it because it'll confuse me. I'm looking at the graph itself, and I want to know, so let's see, where is it negative? K is negative here and here because that's where my outputs are negative. But I want it to be negative and decreasing. This is increasing, this is decreasing, and that's increasing. So my answer then is C. Okay? Draw on your graphs. It helps. Okay? What questions we got? We good? All right, so then on number 6, it says, which of the following statements about the rate of change of K is true? What do I need? Fun chart. All right. So if I want the rate, so these first two say rate of change is negative. So if the rate of change is negative, the function is decreasing. So if the rate of change is supposed to be negative here, then the function should be decreasing from A to B. Are we decreasing from A to B? No, so I don't like A. And same thing, negative, so rate of change should be, the function should be decreasing from B to C. Are we decreasing from B to C? No, the function itself is not. All right, so then now the last two say rate of change is positive. If the rate of change is positive, function is increasing. Is the function increasing from D to E? No. So we hope we like D because we're running out. I don't know if you've ever marked out all of them, but I sure have. Then positive, so we should be increasing again. So from E to F, is the function increasing? Yes. So then we like D. Okay. Any questions about that thought process or how we got that? Okay, then I'm going to give you a couple minutes. You can talk at your table. I want y'all to do 7 and 8. I don't know what you're doing to run people off from your table, but what's your name, sweetheart? You're Bray. Okay, so I got these two perhaps. Thank you. And Lily's. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry? Yeah, you can't wait because we're almost done. Okay. Okay. Here you go. Fill that out. All right, let's talk about these. Which of the following is true about the rate of change? So I'm going to need my fun chart again. Okay, the more you write it, the less you have to think about it when you need it and you haven't used it in a while. Okay, so we're talking about rate of change increasing or decreasing. So this time I'm using this part of the chart. So now I'm looking at concavity. If my rate of change is decreasing, then the concavity, it should be concave down. So when I go from A to B, is the function concave down? No, so we don't like that one. All right, so then increasing, if the rate of change is increasing, the function should be concave up. B to C, is the function concave up? No, so we don't like B. C says the rate of change of K is increasing, which would mean function would be concave up. Are we concave up from D to E? Yes, right here. So yes, so I like C, but you still read them all, just in case we read something wrong, which I know I've done that too. Decreasing would mean concave down. Is the function concave down from E to F? No. So that means, whoops, I don't like D either. My answer is C. Okay. Everybody good with that? Any questions? Okay. Now 8 says intervals of K is increasing and graph of K concave down. Do I need my fun chart? No. Rate of change is not mentioned at all. Okay? I don't need that. So I don't want to get confused with that. So I'm not writing it. I need K to be increasing and concave down. So K is increasing from here to here and from here to here. These pieces are concave up. That's the only piece that's concave down. Y'all agree with that? Okay, so then my answer is B. Any questions at all? We good? All right, flip it over. Okie dokie. So back to this piecewise linear. The figure shows the graph. On what intervals is F decreasing? Well, decreasing just right here, right? So do I say that I'm decreasing from 2 to 0? No. because we talk about y, or we talk about our outputs are getting smaller, but we write about x. So what's the beginning part of my interval? Negative what? 1, and we go to 2. And for increasing, decreasing intervals, they're open, always open. Okay. Now it asks on what intervals is f both negative and increasing. Well, this is the only place it's negative, but it's negative and increasing there. So we're going from -5 to 3. Do I include 3 for the negative part? No. That should be -3. I'm sorry. What is the value of the function at -3? 0. And is 0 negative? No. Plus, we were talking about increasing also, so it should be open. We good so far? Oh, no, it's for that one. Okay. All right, so now while I pass out your assignment, I want you to work on that last one. I'll come up here and we'll talk about it, and then we'll talk about what to do with your notes and all that good kind of stuff. All right, I'm going to go ahead and just work with you since you get started. All right, so the figure shows a graph from -5 to 5. Point A is located right here at -1, 0. It is the only point where the graph of G changes concavity. So on Monday, when we were doing the bases, I threw this word at you and I said, it's okay, you don't have to remember, and it's okay if you don't. I'm just always curious if somebody's little brain kept it. That point would be called a point of what? Anybody know? It's okay if you don't. Yes. Go get the pass from back there and fill it out. So this is called a point of inflection. Remember, it has an L in it. It's not sick, okay? Not an infection. Point of inflection. And they have to tell me where it is because it requires calculus for us to actually find it. We'll talk about points of inflection a lot. We need to know that that's where the concavity changes, but we're not going to have to find their actual locations because we're not in calculus, okay? All right, but you'll see in just a second why it's important that we know where it is. On what intervals is G decreasing and G concave up? Do I need my fun chart for that? No. So G is decreasing from here to here-ish, and concave up, remember the concavity changes here, so decreasing and concave up is right here, going from -1 to 1. Okay, we good on that? Ask me a question. You look confused. You got it? Okay. All right, then on what intervals is the rate of change of G positive and decreasing? Do I need my fun chart? Yes, I do. So here's my fun chart. All right. So I want my rate of change to be positive and decreasing, which means I need my function to be concave down and increasing. So when I look up here, here's where the function is concave down and increasing is that part right there. Okay, it really helps to draw on your stuff there. So this goes from -5 to -3. Okay. What questions do you have? Anything? Oh, yeah. No, you're fine. Is that what you need? Okay.